Man, I do not have the time to record this video, so I'm probably gonna have to do this in parts. Anyways, you know, I've been doing YouTube videos for about a month and a half. And in almost every video, I mention Love and Deepspace, but I don't even know if my viewers know what that is. So I'm gonna take this video as an excuse to talk about and give those who have no idea what it is information on it. Buckle up, normies. Also, before we get started, this is unscripted Avery here. I dilly-dallied. I made the video too long and I've had a lot to do with work, so I haven't been able to actually collect my thoughts. So this video might be kind of scattered. I'm making a part 2 about it, where I will go over like the entire story, like the actual story, and like the routes that I've played, because I haven't played Raph and Xavier's, so you know, just a little warning. Anyways, let's go. Real quick, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Avery, an aspiring animator who got bored after graduating from college and decided to make videos for fun and possible profit. Here on my channel, I record myself drawing like creepshow art without the stalking, while I yap about whatever I want, a la D'Angelo Wallace. I'm a weeb who loves psychology and character development, and I dabble in the art of caring about Korean idols who don't know I exist. If you're interested in the rantings of a nerd in her 20s, why don't you subscribe to my channel and follow me on my social medias? Thank you for watching and enjoy the video. You guys ready for a nerdy history lesson? Love and Deepspace is a Chinese otome gacha game released in January 2024 by the company of Infold, who is also the company behind Infinity Nikki, which I do not play. The game follows you as the main character, a young woman who just graduated training to start working as a deep space hunter. The job of a hunter is to go around fighting these monsters called wanderers, which pose a threat to people in Lincoln City where you live. Along the way, you end up meeting, at the time of this video, 5 love interests, which you can pick from to date. These characters, in order of appearance, are Xavier, your colleague and assigned partner; Zane, your primary care physician and famous cardiologist; Raphael, a famous painter who hires you as his bodyguard; Caleb, a pilot and your childhood friend / adopted brother; Silas, a literal criminal underworld leader who stalks you, I guess. Each of the 5 men have very different personalities and quirks that make them unique, and their feelings for the main character doesn't change depending on the route that you take. So far in the game, the love interests acknowledge each other, but they haven't interacted. For example, Zane mentions Caleb and Caleb mentions Zane, both by name, but we have yet to see them interact, even though Zane appeared in Caleb's part of the main story. Xavier doesn't mention Silas by name, but he does mention Only Kindness, which is Silas's organization. But Silas knows who Xavier is because they're enemies, and we see Silas's mechanical crow Mephisto spying on us interacting with Xavier. We also know that Caleb, at the very least, knows that MC is interacting with all of these guys because it's implied that he's been stalking us. That was a lot, but there's more. I'll talk about the story in another video. So what the fuck is otome and gacha? You may have heard the introduction of the game and thought, what in the fuck is gacha and otome? Well, let me explain. Gacha is the modern term for gambling. I'm just joking, but only a little. Gacha got its name from the Japanese term gachapon, which is what they call toy vending machines, and it's a word that mimics the sound the toy vending machine makes. Basically, if you've ever played Genshin, that's a gacha game. It's really similar to gambling. You use an in-game currency to gain random in-game items. There are usually 2 routes you can take to get those items. These routes are either pay to play or free to play. As in, you can pay real money to spend on the in-game currency until you get the items that you want, or you can play the game in order to earn the currency to get the in-game items. But free to play usually takes a lot longer than pay to play. How the gacha element works in a game like Genshin is you earn game currency to spend on weapons, but in Love and Deepspace, you earn in-game currency through achieving goals with your love interests, completing daily and weekly tasks, upgrading your cards, and fighting in battles to earn pink diamonds. Then you go into the wish pool, where you can earn cards of all 5 love interests, which come to you at random, which level up your affinity, basically your relationship level, with the love interest whose card you got. There are 3 levels of cards: 3 stars, 4 stars, and 5 stars. The 5-star cards are the most rare and always involve a long story with an animated and playable cutscene. The 4 stars usually also come with a story or an ASMR immersible story that you can access. The 3 stars are just there for the love interests to look pretty, I guess. I still haven't figured that out. You can use these cards to equip in battles, which you fight in order to earn resources and more dias to get more cards and level them up. But Avery, you yell at me, why would I do all that work? And that's where the next term comes in. What is otome? Well, would you believe me if I said it's also a Japanese term? It means maiden, and the genre was created by women for women. You see, the purpose of an otome game is to rival the plethora of dating games for men. An otome game is designed to be a dating game full of gorgeous and many times bishonen men who appeal to the female gaze and audience. The men in these games aren't always green flags, but they are appealing to the women who play the game. So, now we know what gacha and otome is. What about the characters? I'm glad you didn't ask. And in this section is where I brag about the characters. I'm going to talk the most about the characters that I like and play with more often, and a lot less about the ones I either like the least or don't play with. So I think I'll start with those ones. Raphael. This is going to be a very controversial opinion. Raph is the pretty boy of the game. He's a diva, he's a former opera singer, I think. He's a very famous painter. He's mega wealthy. Oh, and he's god of the sea, king of these mer people called Lemurians, and he's a siren. Yeah, he's also the default app icon and was the focus of the original trailer for the game. I don't know a lot about Raphael, honestly, because I frankly don't like him. His attitude turns me off completely. He's too whiny and dramatic for me. I just don't vibe with him well at all. I appreciate his part in the main story, but so far I've only played what I had to of whatever he's in. I haven't played his branch in Prologue to Tomorrow because I just wasn't interested. If someone has any recommendations for a summary of all 3 branches of that part of the main story, I'd be pretty grateful. Raphael's evol is fire. I don't know why Fishboy has a fire quirk, okay? He just does, and I go along with it. It does fit the whole artist thing, in my opinion, with there being like so many colors of flames that can come in and how they blend into each other. But considering he's all about the water, except for this one thing, I truly have no clue why. Maybe some Raph girlies can help me out in the comments. I don't know. Xavier! I like Xavier. I mentioned before on my channel that he was my main when I first started playing the game before switching to Zane. This was mostly because he looked like an adult and realistic version of Jack Frost, which if you watch my childhood crushes video, you know I had a huge thing for him in my tweens. I also liked how aloof Xavier is, and when we first meet him, he's sleeping on the job. He was also my second main for a while until I warmed up to Silas, and then my third before Caleb was revealed as the 5th love interest. Anyways, Xavier is a prince of Philos, a space prince, if you will. A hunter in the same division as the main character and her partner, and he's also a time traveler, I guess. I don't actually know because again, he's not my main, and while I like him, I do have a life and I just haven't really gotten around to his stories or anything. I got halfway through his story branch in Prologue to Tomorrow, but it's been so long since I've tried playing it that I don't remember. I figure I don't really have to play through Xavier and Raph's branches since, well, their branches. If they were part of the main story like Homecoming Wings or Death and Rebirth with Caleb, Zane, and Silas, obviously I'd play through them. But since you can choose which branch to go through for Prologue, I've never even bothered to go through anyone's but Zane's. It gets you to the same place, right? It gets you to the same place, right? Just with a different character? I don't know, I'm just not that interested. Raphael is often considered the pretty boy of the game, and he is gorgeous, but I find Xavier to be prettier. His hair is more pretty, it's light and fluffy looking. Oh my god. It's light and fluffy looking. His eyes are prettier in color and in shape. Now that I'm thinking about that, I take that back. Raphael's eyes are gorgeous. They're 2 colors. It's crazy. Though that is just my opinion, obviously. I just find Xavier much more physically appealing than, well, probably any of the other love interests. He's also physically my type though, so I am biased. Xavier's evol is light, which I think is the reason he can teleport. It's very useless in the Crane games though. However, it does fit his Prince of the Stars theme he's got going on. He is what the Starboy concept for Wish could have been. Caleb! So you know from my my last video that I know quite a bit more about Caleb and his story than I do off Raph and Zave's, but I still don't know nearly as much as I do about Silas and Zane. I do really like Caleb. I love yandere archetypes and I find them super interesting and fun when done right. I like when there's more of a reason behind why a character is obsessed with their love interest to the point of committing criminal and murderous acts for them. And yes, Caleb is considered a yandere, but Silas isn't, and I'll tell you why when we get to the latter. Anyways, Caleb is actually truly everything I hate in real life. He's obsessive, manipulative, a military man, and severely overprotective, but it's like those people who find horrible love interests in dark romance novels attractive. You find it hot or sexy in a scenario, but not in real life. In real life, keep those fuckers far away from me because hands will be thrown. In real life, keep those fuckers far away from me because hands will be thrown. I feel like I should clarify, but I won't. Caleb is also fiercely loyal, compassionate, funny, charming, and protective in a normal way sometimes, which is why you initially like him. His story is honestly probably my favorite out of all of the love interests simply because of how much foreshadowing was put into the story about Caleb and who he truly is way before he was even revealed as a love interest. I like how his yandere-ness is explained to us in a way where we could be like, oh yeah, I could totally see that. That's completely plausible and understandable. He's so cocky too. I love Caleb. And if it weren't for Silas, he'd be my second main. Them kisses though, man. I don't fucking care if he's inexperienced. I have met many people who were inexperienced and they have never popped when they kissed. My ex was inexperienced and even literally ate my face when trying to kiss me, but he still didn't make those stupid ass sounds. I cannot listen to his secret times. Oh yeah, and in case you were wondering, since I gave Zave and Raph a small intros to the characters, Caleb is a fleet colonel, former experiment of Ever, and the adopted brother of the main character. They were both adopted when they were children by Josephine. I went over all of this in my last video, go watch that. Caleb's evol is Gravity, which is extremely strong and one of the most dangerous in my humble opinion. He rivals Silas in this way. It also cutely fits in Caleb's whole planes and space aesthetic. It's cute. It's also led to many very kinky fanfics that I may or may not have saved for later on my AO3 account. Moving on. Silas. Silas is the leader of criminal organization Onakainis, father to twins Luke and Kieran. This is mostly a joke within the fandom, but kinda not also. And is also a dragon. Yeah, he has a mechanical crone named Mephisto, who is not a pet. Mephisto is a distinguished and actualized human being. Thank you very much. So because Silas is like a mob boss, he was portrayed to the audience and MC as a villain at first. His whole aesthetic is, I'm a badass criminal with tons of money. Kind of like Jeffrey Bezos, except Silas is actually a good guy because Silas uses his abilities, whether it be money or his weapons or his evol, to help those around him. Whether it be his money or his weapons or his evol to help those around him. At least from what I've gathered. I haven't spent as much time or money on him as I have Zane, but I have spent quite a bit of time on his stories and cards. I hated him at first. When I was introduced to the game, it was through his cards that had come out 3 months prior to them showing up on my Insta feed, and I got the exclusive one where MC kicks him around and the main story ones. The main story ones gave me the ick so bad I nearly blocked everything relating to the game. Good thing Xavier popped up too, or this entire part of my personality wouldn't have existed. The ick came with the forcefulness of Silas's character when we're first introduced to him. Complete turn off for me. I hate when a man has the audacity, but I played through the story and suddenly I was squealing and barking like Lexi. Silas's evol is, I had to look it up, energy manipulation. Bro exploded a whole human in front of us as if a semi-truck had just hit a deer. Just an explosion of mist. Bitch can lift people and take them out. So bitch can lift people and take them out if he so pleases. He can also teleport. He was also apparently the one that finally broke MC out of Ever's experimentations. And I guess we were gladiators or something together. I guess I need to replay everything. Zane! Hey, did you guys know that I'm a Jasmine? Yeah. Zane is my main. I love this man. Man's childhood childhood friend of MC's and Caleb's, a super smart guy, a highly decorated cardiac surgeon, gives lectures at universities, loves and is great with kids, and genuinely cares about the well-being of anyone around him. In Death and Rebirth, we learn that he's been hunting down people, turning into wanderers, and putting them out of their misery. To me, it seems like he was doing this in order to put a quick end to something that he knows can't be reversed and just becomes a danger to everyone. But I could be stupid and completely have misunderstood everything. I don't fucking know. Zane is very handsome, as noted by many characters in the game. I mean, all of the love interests are said to have been handsome by multiple people in the game. After all, it is part of their appeal, but I noticed in game, Raphael and Zane are the ones whose looks are commented on the most, and that's interesting to me, especially since within this timeline at least, Raphael is a literal ethereal being, a god. Meanwhile, Zane is literally just a regular human man. It's very entertaining to me. I haven't read it yet, but according to what I've heard about the world underneath anecdote for his character, Zane is alluded to having been adopted by the Lees, and the family takes his mother's last name rather than his father's. Zane had graduated middle, high school, university, and med school all like 10 years earlier or something like that. It's noted somewhere in the game that he still had baby fat in his cheeks when he was interning under Dr. Noah. Adorable. Love that. His evol is ice, and unlike the others, Zane has trouble controlling his powers, which led to an accident that injured MC when he was 12, and it's assumed MC was like 8 or 9. He had gotten it more under control since then, but he still struggles with it, as we see multiple times throughout the game, that when his evil gets out of control, it starts trailing up his arms and forming crystals around his body. He's also a god, I guess. I don't really understand the lore behind it, honestly, and I'm not gonna try to convince myself I do for the sake of this video. So if you want to learn more about Astra and Zane's godhood, maybe see God Zane give main character backshots in the sacred pool, go to another YouTuber. I'm sure there's just as much interesting stuff and lore that has to do with the other love interests, but since I don't main them, I don't really care, honestly. Oh, fun fact about Zane's evil: the ice never melts unless Zane wills it to. As of writing this script, Zane is the only love interest whose affinity I have over 100, and I think Silas is close behind. There are others. These are characters that I don't really know much about and aren't as involved in the story. Jenna, your boss at the Hunters Association. Her voice actress was recently replaced, and now she's about 30% less attracted to me. Would still smash. Tara, a sweetheart. I would die for her. She's one of MC and Xavier's co-workers and a very close friend of MC's. She has met Silas, which will make it very interesting in the future should Sai come out on another employee outing to the karaoke bar he bought just because MC liked it there. She kind of looks like Caleb, which has led to speculation that she's his biological sister. That should be a fun revelation if true. Grayson, a doctor at Oxo Hospital and Zane's assistant. Apparently, no one knows his real age. Motherfucker could be a vampire. A cutie patootie, 10 out of 10 sweetheart. Knows about Zane and MC's admittedly inappropriate doctor-patient relationship, but stays quiet like a good boy. Yvonne, a nurse and receptionist at Oxo Hospital, and is possibly the only person besides Caleb himself that knows MC is fucking around with 5 different men at the same time, but is keeping quiet probably because the drama is too good. When Raph took himself to the hospital like the dramatic diva he is, Yvonne was the one to tattle on him to MC. Love her. Jeremiah! Someone from Xavier's home planet and is a friend of his. He owns a flower shop in Lincoln called Philo and has walked in many times on Xav MC going to town on each other. Poor guy either has the best job in the world or the worst one depending on how he likes peeping. Thomas, Raphael's art gallery manager and closest friend. He has frequent anxiety attacks, that's an exaggeration, because Raph will miss deadlines a lot. Apparently, this fucker has a wife and kid. Who knew? Talia, Roth's aunt and certified baddie. Auntie is the most supportive in-law ever. Althea and Jace Lee. Zane's parents, who were only recently given names. We mostly hear from his mother. They are the most nonchalant Asian parents ever. They did not flinch when MC sat on Zane's lap, unaware that he was on call with them, and his mother even seemed to encourage this behavior. Gideon, Caleb's friend? Man is constantly insulting him. I think Gideon may have Stockholm Syndrome, which means he fits right in with us. Luke and Kieran, 18-year-old twins who are glued to Silas after he saves them from experimentation. They both wear plague masks because one of them has a disfigured face from the experiments, so they wear the masks to look identical again. They're both chaotic, but Kieran is known as the more dependable and calm one. They're very likable and are more like Silas's kids than his underling. Mephisto, a mechanical bird Silas modified with a camera. He uses Mephisto to keep an eye on MC and survey the N109 feminine zone. Although he's a bird, Mephisto has a very big personality. For example, he hates being called a pet. He is a distinguished gentleman. There's also a lot of villains in the story, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because of how little Infold updates the main story, I don't really care right now. I like to soak up as much of the love interests as I can during the new updates, and I'm not planning on paying any real attention to anything else until we get more of the story. I fucking hate cliffhangers, so I don't want to get myself involved with an unfinished story. That's why I like the cards more than the actual main story, because at least the cards and myths have a definitive beginning and end. We're not ending on a depressing cliffhanger, Zane. The impact Love and Deepspace has had on the world might be a surprise to you, actually. Despite it not exactly being mainstream, at least in the West, women are using the game and how real-life men react to it and the love interest as a test of their worthiness to be in a relationship. Kind of like how the Barbie movie became a test to see if women should break up with their boyfriends. In China, there have been many women who realize their standards should be higher and have thus relegated themselves to being okay with not having a partner until they find someone who can treat them like the men in the game does. In many strict misogynistic countries, such as with what happened in Indonesia, the game is being targeted by the government for raising women's standards. Honestly, with how misogynistic South Korea is, it's a miracle their government hasn't banned it, and with the new weird-ass self-hating Prime Minister of Japan, I look forward to her blaming the game for the decline in the Japanese birth rates and population, even though the decline started way before the game's release. Women and teens are starting to understand that men should treat them with respect and love, not authority and disrespect. Here in the States, I've noticed a subtle incline of fandom celebrations. The way Eastern countries celebrate their favorite games and shows have been rubbing off on the West, and I think that's great. It makes me want to live in a more populated area. Many women here have also been using the game as a test when on dates. I know I did. I think in the long run, the game is doing amazing things for women's self-esteem. I truly don't think we can talk about the impact of the game without talking about the downsides to it. For example, a lot of men have started playing the game. Men like the boys from Trash Chase and multiple different streamers have started to test it out, or at least research it a little bit. This has led to a very volatile side of the fandom going after these men for getting into a game that is designed for women. And that's the thing, it is designed for women. Part of this game being an otome game is that it's mainly targeted toward and made for women, not trans women, not biological females who identify as non-binary, but women, cisgendered women. And this has caused some controversy. Now, before we continue, I am a queer woman. If I had to describe my sexuality, I guess it would be pansexual, but I prefer bisexual, and I am very much a cisgendered woman. I have many non-binary and transgender family members and friends, even more queer friends. I'm completely open to the discussion of topics of sexuality I'm uncomfortable with personally, and I wasn't always as accepting as I am now. I was never that person who hated gay people or even bi or pan people growing up, because I guess I was just one of them, but I was transphobic when I was a young teen. I slowly grew out of that and educated myself on the topic of transgenderism. I've come a long way since I was a young teen, and I think it only takes proper education on the subject and a willingness to learn to understand. Having said that, I think it's time to talk about the subject of video gaming for a gender other than cisgendered males. The gaming industry has historically been targeted toward men. This is made obvious with the many ways women have been portrayed in popular video games. They're normally just an accessory to the male lead of the game they're in. They're also stereotyped as the maid, whore, and mother of the lead characters. They're sexualized to an outrageous extent, especially in combat games, where the female fashion sense boils down to how tight and revealing can we make this woman's outfit without upping the rating to digital porn. This is the whole reason otome games were made in the first place. Men historically don't want an equal partnership with their female counterpart. They want someone who can care for them like children. What was it that geisha lady said on Blue Eyes Samurai? Men are weak.
The ones who act beastly are weakest. They penetrate women and think that makes them powerful. Really, their pricks are fragile. Exposed. You saw it yourself. They want to be diapered, spanked, and breastfed, then strut away like they conquered an army.
It's hard not to believe this when we live in a world where women are started to become mere incubators for human life rather than being seen as humans themselves. So, men shouldn't play the game then? No, that's not at all what I'm saying. I think it's actually benefiting male players to play a game targeted specifically toward the female population because it's giving them a better sense of who women actually are and what we go through in our daily lives. And you could look at this this as everything being mansplained to them because they're learning this from characters they see and perceive and are voiced by men. But remember, the entire Love and Deepspace team, the writers, the models for the animation, and the developers are made up entirely of women. Men have very little say in this game. The voice actors are men, sure, but they're directed and their scripts are written by women, which means the men playing the game aren't hearing about women's problems through another man's observations. They're hearing the facts of womanhood by women, which are then told to them by other men. No mansplaining is going on here. And that's fucking brilliant. Another problem that has been showcased is the exact thing I spent 2 paragraphs relaying to you. The game is targeted toward and made for cisgendered straight women. Being that the game is made in China, and while American propaganda has worked hard to demonize the country as a dictatorship hell, because of the internet they haven't succeeded, it's still a very and increasingly restrictive country. It's odd because on one hand the country is making amazing strides for feminism, but it's also banning the making and sale of anything LGBTQ+ friendly. Just as Lads was coming out, there was a strict ban on pornography and especially gay media. Many doujinshi artists and manhwa writers are being arrested for their contribution to pornographic, often with 2 males, content. As you can imagine, this probably put Love and Deepspace in a different boat than it probably started out in. After all, even with the censorship of the game, we can still tell when a scene is coded as a sex scene between the main character and the love interests. If the wording doesn't give it away, the voice acting certainly does. Many queer players have complained that there is no option to have same-sex couples in the game, that there are no options for MC to become a man instead of a woman. And while I do understand the complaints, I do think it's important that cisgender women have a place to be themselves. I think in our efforts to be more queer-friendly, we're forgetting that not everything has to be catered to us specifically. After all, are you going to complain that Jodie from Beyond Two Souls doesn't have a female love interest route? I mean, maybe you will, but if the character isn't gay, then she isn't. I think the reason games like The Last of Us 2 and The Walking Dead Season 4 have had queer elements was because it was completely plausible or natural for the characters. I truly don't think choosing between the female love interests for Clementine, I truly don't think that choosing the female love interest for Clementine in The Walking Dead would have had any more of an effect on her character than if you chose the male love interest route. I truly don't think it changes her character if you would choose for Max Caulfield in Life is Strange to be in love with Chloe or her male friend. It doesn't change their sexualities in my mind. They're already bisexual if you have that option. The difference between choosing a male and female love interest for them is not the same as Historia from Attack on Titan settling down with a man. Historia was a lesbian basically being forced into heteronormalcy because of her royal status, while Max and Clementine were most likely bisexual from the start, which is why their personalities and goals don't change depending on their love interest. Having a dating game where the character is specifically a cisgendered heterosexual female is not the end of the world, and it's also not your decision to make. Are you going to be upset that Max is a woman? If you're not upset that you have to play as a bisexual cisgendered woman in Life is Strange, why be upset that you have to play as a heterosexual cisgendered woman for Love and Deepspace? MC being a woman is integral to the story. The story revolves around her womanhood. It's also a game that's meant to educate and build confidence in cisgendered women. If it makes you uncomfortable so much to the point of complaining about it, then I hate to be the one to tell you this, but simply don't play. Does it make me angry that all of the women in the GTA franchise are annoying mothers or whores who walk funny with no in-between? Absolutely. But am I still gonna play the games? Absolutely. Because they're fun. Maybe sometimes when I play Hitman, I want to play as a woman rather than a man, but I can't because Agent 47 is a man and I can't change that. It's an unfortunate truth in our world that there is a significant difference between biological men and women. Although it's mostly due to society, some does have to do with biology. The average man is 9 times out of 10 going to be larger and stronger than the average woman. Different parts of our brains are used more than the other sexes would. These are just facts. It doesn't mean that they change though. It doesn't mean they can't change though. An average woman can work out more than the average man and become stronger than him. Gender identity is fluid. It's a social construct. Being mad at an otome game for being an otome game is wasted energy in my opinion. Alright, I think that's all I got for now. I'll make a second part to this video so I can focus specifically on the story. I didn't realize I had so much to say about the game. This became quite long, and I have a lot of things to do, so I think I'll stop yapping. What do you think about Love and Deepspace? What are your favorite or least favorite things about the game? I honestly feel like I could have been more precise with this video, but alas, I had too much to say and not enough time to organize my thoughts. Follow all my socials, link below. Instead of a blog post on my website, I am now moving everything to Tumblr because I have run out of storage on my website. Oh yeah, and I made a Tumblr. Make sure to follow my Twitch. I really hope you liked the video, and if you did, please give a thumbs up because it really helps me. Share this video with your friends and other lads fans, and subscribe to my channel for the next part of this video, as well as many other videos where I talk about Love and Deepspace, such as the speculated English voice actor controversy and comparing Caleb MC's story to the Dollenganger saga. Okay, bye! This video script took so much longer than I expected it to. By the way, if you're new to my videos, hi, welcome. This is the part of the video where I go completely off script, and it's also the least edited part of the video. How are you liking me adding clips and shit? I hope it's good. I hope you like it. I'm gonna try not to waste too much time with this, and I had actually planned on showcasing a screen recording I took on my phone of the new Lads event banner, because by the time I got done with this script, the new Lads banner had come out, and I can't believe that they made the Lads boys Saja boys. That's crazy. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you really like Fox's thumbnails, and the next video will be me talking about specifically the story of Love and Deepspace for those who don't know and who want to know and who want my opinions on it. So you know, like the video, subscribe and all that. Please share this around. My last video did not get as many views on it as I expected it to, so you know, that's a little bit of a bummer, but you know, not every video can be really popular. But I'll talk to you guys later. Be sure to get on my Tumblr to see the new blog post that I posted on 31st. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!